Good evening again, everyone out there, our brothers and sisters, our viewers. We want to say welcome again to another edition of my Lutheran Connection. We are coming to you again live on my Lutheran Connections TV. Um, we have our um, co-host. He's there in Freetown, Sierra Leone, Brother Jerry Tablo, and also Brother Josiah F. Jokai Jr. Joining us from our studio there in Connecticut, and I am here in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, our guest today is Mr. Molba Golayan. He is the president of the National Lutheran Men Fellowship of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. So, without much waste of time, we are going to join quickly our studio there in Connecticut, and we are going to take it from there and move you forward with the show today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brother Willie, there in Georgia. Thank you, Jerry, for coming on today as usual. It is a pleasure for us at my Lutheran Connections online TV to welcome for the first time the president of the National Men Fellowship of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, Father Malba S. Galayan. He's the president. We will be hearing from him today on activities of the Men's Fellowship. So it's going to be an exciting conversation as always. So we ask you to stay tuned. Father Malba S. Golayan is no stranger to the Lutheran Church. He's contributed significantly to the growth and development of the church in terms of helping to construct some of the edifices and to also mobilize people for Christ. He's a proud Lutheran Christian. He will be talking a lot about himself. But I just thought to let you know that he is one of those Lutherans that we are very pleased to converse with today. He has a lot in store as far as the activities of the men's auxiliary of the Lutheran Church in Liberia is concerned. So, Father Galayan, we want to welcome you to the show. We will just ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself, how you rose to the position of president of the Men's Fellowship. I know in the Lutheran Church in Liberia, that's a critical position. It's not just easy, given all that is involved to become the president of the Men's Fellowship. You have to deal with the men at St. Peter's. St. Peter's used to be my parish. I am now a member of the St. Matthew Lutheran parish. I transferred my membership to St. Matthew's before I left for the U.S. because of proximity to my home there in Painesville. Yeah, so you have to deal with the men in those parishes. Those are key parishes. Gay Town. I know Jerry is asking himself, but why Josiah is not talking about my parish, Gay Town. I know you have to deal with the men at Gay Town, the men at St. Matthew's, the men at St. Peter's. Bannersville as well. I just want to know how you did it because I know the men auxiliary, the politics in there is not a small politics, and how you made your way to the presidency.
Thank you very much.
It's up to you, sir. It's up to you.
Thank you very much. Basically, we started with the Lutheran Church. I mean, like I was telling Willie, we were born here, die here. Yeah, but we started with the Lutheran Church ever since actively 1986 from the Holy Cross Lutheran Church in Bon Mines. And I've been able to work with the church ever since then. Position-wise, we've been able to serve in various capacities. As a matter of fact, at the formation of National Men, I became first vice president. That was like not formation, but the revitalization of National Men. After the war, I was the first vice president. By then, we had this for the Bandala Dolo. And then because I had to work out of town, I had to relinquish that position, and then out of the UN, then I had to move around. the country to work. So coming back to Morovia, but while I was out there, I, through the help of God, helped to build the Maurice Officer Lutheran Church. And as you may be aware, that is a church that was named after Maurice Officer, uh, one of the founding members of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. So when I got there, we used to worship in Vonjo Multilateral High. And one morning, Sunday morning, we went to service. And I hate to say that here, but I don't want to say like I'm degrading him. But one janitor just looked at us on Sunday morning and said, "No church here today." So I look at him for a long time, my friend. In fact, Lutheran Church is not a church where we should be worshiping in classroom and on pulpits. And the rest of the people, I said, look, the late Kofi used to call me a small brother. May his soul rest in peace now. I think people will not coming back to this place anymore. If we cannot construct a church, then let us go and stay home. So everybody, just by that alone, the folks in Vonjama said, okay, but then let's go. By Monday, I mean, of that week, we managed to get a truck that went right behind Tenable and got some steaks. We came and put our steaks. We put a tapoli and started worshiping on land. Yes, right around police bypass there. And from there we said, look, gentlemen, let's do some breaks. And that's how today you go there, motor officer is there. Then from there, when we've been able to work around with the Lutheran Church, um, we I came back to town by 2010 and then started becoming active with the men auxiliary, moving around the country. And then I saw the need to work alone and lift the men up because I'm not bragging about this, but people that know me personally will tell you say the name Goliath, Mobile Goliath is a successful name. It's a name that means success by the help of God. So we work alone and then saw that the men for too long will be unaccountable. And if you want to do anything and you want the cooperation, but you want people to listen to you, to look at you, you have to make uh, accountability count. People must know that even if I'm not paying money, if I just have to say a word or two, that hey, that guy will be able to make it work. That guy can come back to me and say, hey, the thing you said, this is how we have turned it into something, you know. So when the opportunity came out to me, I said, well, I wanted to go. Like you talking about St. Peter's. We all started from St. Peter's. So St. Peter meant to me, but well, you got our blessing. And that's just how it went. St. Peter's, you got our blessing. Barnes they can say, well, oh man, we ain't got a problem with you because we know you. Because of the way we worked, and basically, so the guy came and said, man, thumbs up, you can go. And that's how I went. Even though I had uh, the incumbent at the time, Brother Wallaba, and then Brother Kido, sorry, current gone, or is he also there, darkness here. And this is Liberia too. So we contested, and I just won by 2 votes because Victor Kido came with 25. Um, Jeremiah, the incumbent then, came with 26. Then I came with 28. So, I mean, the margin was very close. I mean, we're just like stepping behind one another. But I mean, be it what it may, I succeeded Jeremiah. And since then, we've been trying to see how we can make the National Lutheran Churchmen work. So, as a matter of fact, we have tried to work with the other auxiliaries, and we have very good working relationship with them. The women, the men, the youth. Even like I was telling you today, uh, I be in Bombing Tottenham Boy. Excuse me, let me just. Sorry, you know when you want something to get distracted. So we've been able to work with other auxiliaries, even other ecumenical bodies like the Baptists, the Methodists. We've been able to work with them, and we have the cordial relationship, right? So coming to talk about the Lutheran men, we just started and said, look, we want us to become more accountable. By that, I mean we've gone like since we got inducted in June, we've gone like 8 9 months now since we took over, and basically we kind of getting the support of the men and the women, even the office of the bishop gradually because we've kind of turned things around by the grace of God. And look, whatever we do it through the church, we do it through the LCL, and that is something that gave it that was a challenge, previously. But we try whatever we do it through the church so that even if I'm not there, I just need to take a phone and call, and then where the son of it can say yes, we can vouch for that. This is what is happening when we are in light of this. So those are things like that. So basically, I mean, that's what we are doing, and we are trying to make us viable, sustainable. Because if we only wait for the year to end and then we go to convention and the various district men, various parish men come and pay quota, and then we sit on the go out to say we're going to visit. We might not even be able to go to visit 3 or 4 parishes. That money will finish. So we decide, look, whatever little thing that we get for now, we try to do projects. So to tell you that the men, things were not so favorable for us. And behind every successful man stands a great woman. And the late musician Johnny Honeycutt says, and to appreciate a good woman, it takes a real man. Definitely, the women have been behind us. The former president, national women president of the Lutheran Church, Mrs. Evelyn Gray, came up with the help of the LCL, says Naomi Ford Wilson, Bishop himself, the BA. You imagine they all were telling the boy, hey, help this guy, help this group, because the person that is there is credible. And through that, um, I'm proud to say that at least the sixth grade was able to take us around. We managed to procure small funding from the bank as a credit that will help us to begin our project. So, firstly, we talk about having uniform. So, the uniform project, we've asked a company in Ghana to print us the lappers, and so tomorrow I should be going to Abbey to sign the offer letter that will enable us pay the palace of the Lapa money to get the Lapas to Liberia so that we are able to use them at the convention come March 10th. Then we've been back on Figure. We want to raise some pigs, and while in Birmingham, uh, I met with the Reverend there, uh, Reverend Johnny S. Salif. The Pirate Crest Lutheran Church embraced the idea, and we just told them to do us some bricks, dead bricks, that will be able to go and construct the first 2 rooms. If Brother Abraham the Wali had been of real strong support, because he told me, hey, you know, sometimes our background, where we come from, when we decide that we want to do this, sometimes people don't see it, and bring about change. Sometimes it's good, but people welcome it, but to work alone, they don't know how it's going to work. So that's where we've been. Because when I remember we had the last meeting, When we talk about investment, the guys will say, "Ah, my man, we create the money," and you talk about investing it. We're not getting money. I say, my friend, please. I know what I'm talking about, the help of God, and I know because everything me it just need persistence. If you work at it, you push it, it's going to work. But if you say I've asked it and you said like we were talking, I just use I like to borrow the the theme of the Moray district. I say move forward, moving forward. You know, if you say you want to do this and you don't apply action, you don't move, it's not going to happen. So I told her, hey, we might have a good plan. But for me, as long as I'm healthy, by the help of God, you guys will need to move and will work. So when I got there, when we saw the site, everybody told me, my man, even they are delaying, can two all begin to do something? I say yes. Then at least it means I have a teammate who can move on. So I just told her, I say, if you want me to be your president, you need to just support it. To say yes, we're doing it, we all move there. But you bring ideas sometimes. I mean, I don't want to be, negative, but people say, this thing will not work. This thing will not work. I say, yeah, because probably the person that brought it either did not have the zeal, did not have the vigor to move and push it. But for me, I mean, I'm the one that will say this with the team, and even if you're not going by the help of God, I can move there. We can work. So that's where we are. We have this project, and Brother Willie working along with us. Also, we have the a project in Belafana that's just beginning. The previous administration, talk about it, but we were not able to kick off the ground. Thank God we came there, we picked it up. We're trying to do a cassava farm project. Meanwhile, all of these projects, people again have experiences from time past that they venture into such projects, but the whole thing just went down the drain. Now I say, thank you for your experience sharing. But what we're going to do an MOU, and then where you have your share, we have our share. Terms and conditions will be specified in the documents. So you look at you sign out to it, and that's what we're going to do. Again, leadership is not taking over and sitting down. Leadership is taking over and moving. If I want to be the president and you say I'm the president, I don't become the president and say, oh yeah, I'm the president, I want to sleep. When you become the president, that's when you begin to move because that's when the real work starts. So like I was telling you, I'm saying the to have the national men moving to do the success that I'm envisioning, that's Pele, sorry, that I'm looking at, all that is envisaging, right? So that I'm seeing that it means that I will need to be walking after it, making it happen. So those kind of things are what we're looking at for now. Thank you.
Okay.
Wow. So much information. So much information. You've just set the stage for our conversation, and would like to thank you very much for the overview you just provided. Your instrumentality in getting the Morris Officer Church construction done. It's very impressive, and we must really appreciate you for that. You also emphasized that you ran on accountability. That's quite important. That's one of the issues that's affecting institutions or various organizations in our country. It's not just within the Lutheran Church. That's not a sector issue that cuts across, almost every organization in the country. Accountability. So we will really talk a lot about that. We want you to help us unpack that a little bit. My colleagues will come in with some questions regarding that. You contested, you won a highly contested election. Winning just by 2 votes speaks volumes. I think another one got all of us thinking as to how you are proceeding with your leadership, because just winning, by 2 votes means that you did not get the overwhelming mandate of the organization. So one will be concerned as to how you are leading effectively, what gems you have, what charms you have to get everybody on board. Especially you want the incumbent. That's a lot, and another person who contested, you defeated, that person as well. And then you talk about your projects, the Lapa project, and you're talking about the piggery, trying to partner with Abel's organization. So that just sets the stage for our conversation. Usually when we have guests on the show, we like to ask them a fundamental question, like all of us on the show here. We all became Lutherans by being born in the Lutheran family. Sometimes we joke about it, and then we ask our guests, how did you do it? But I read yours. You were also born, I'm sure you were born into a Lutheran family when you indicated that, you are Lutheran by birth. So just a little bit, I want you to talk about that. What you mean by being a Lutheran by birth? Probably it sounds like our stories, similar stories that we all have. But just a little bit. When you are done, my colleague will take it over. He free down there, Jerry.
So,
Yeah.
by being Lutheran by birth, my parents were all Lutherans, and the Lutheran mission. Lutheran has a base in Belafana. We are from Belafana, so when I was born, I mean, it was just a Lutheran affair, really. That my parents took me to Lutheran church. When my father got a job to work in Beaumont in 1976, we moved to Beaumont, and everything was a Lutheran church. I don't know my father even going for tarry somewhere else. I used to try to go for tarry to other places. He say, my friend, I'm raising Lutheran men. That's all I can tell you. I'm raising Lutheran men. So, I mean, it's that same kind of tendency that I have. My son was on SDA mission or Corolla. The guy came out, he wanted to go to SDA. I said, my friend, you don't like Campbell again. So that Lutheran men are raising a big and I mean that's just me. But that's how I came up. So when we were in Beaumont, well, Holy Cross, everything we did was just at the Holy Cross. We'll go to KP for camp. We'll go for, the money we used to call it LYF. Uh, when I grew up, then I said no, it to be National Lutheran Youth Fellowship. But all the time we used LYF, LYF, LYF. Oh, that's what we were saying. So I mean, every Saturday we had to go for a meeting with to Holy Cross with Pastor Barry Lang and the late Mama Lang, like that. So basically, the Lutheran Church is what I know. It's all that I know.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
if I have to do anything by the grace of God, the special grace of God, is to do with the Lutheran Church. Because that's where I know. If you invite me to your church, yeah, I go there, I come by. I will say amen with you. But I come by, that's the Lutheran Church I know. All true and true. Yeah. So when I tell you I'm a born Lutheran, I mean that's where I come from. Yeah.
Jerry, it's up to you. Is that story similar to yours?
Definitely. So I would like to say thank you so much to our great guest, our Father Moba, for your expose. And I'm very, very happy to know that you are a hemodynamite, especially looking at the way in which you perform. Listening to you, I believe that there is a saying: "Whether leaders are made or leaders are born." I want to believe that you are one of those in the categories of leaders that are born. But let's look at the issue of the accountability first. I like the way in which you emphasize accountability. You have been in the Lutheran Church from birth up to now becoming the National Lutheran, the president of the National Lutheran Men's Auxiliary. Before taking over to become the president, and now that you are the president, can you give us some of the measures that you've put in place to ensure that you are able to be accountable to your congregation or to your electorates? Can you just tell us so we understand, because we are going through a lot of projects? So what are some of the accountability criteria that you have set in place that tomorrow when you leave from there, people can be able to say, yes, when Father Mobile was there, he was transparent, and these are the procedures he put in place to get us through. Maybe we could begin with the policy that you put in place.
Well, thank you very much. Firstly, when we took over, we set up a committee we were calling audit committee. But the guy said, Jeremy, we're not auditors, even though we are all accountants. We're not auditors. But what we'll do is we'll do a system testing. So that committee has worked, and we realized that basically there was no system, there was no policy. I will go and say I want money and just take it and go. Whether I come back with receipt or not, well, that said, oh, I took the money. So we upon setting this committee into place. When they told me, I said, but then gentlemen, you guys need to help us to come with these policies, because by profession, I'm an accountant, but I told them, because these are things that will at least make us, accountable. Every time you take a dime out, you must sign for it. You must, come back, make a report that says, hey, I went to this and this is what I did. Like that, it becomes, something that people can follow. So that's what we've done, number one. Then we decided that our account with the LCL become active. So anywhere that I go, or you make a pledge, you send that money, I tell you, hey, please send it to the LCL account. So you send that money to the LCL account. Unlike before, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but it was a challenge. It was a challenge. But now everything that we do goes through the LCL. And by that, if I have to sign for maybe $10, $5, the LCL will do that check. It goes through the LCL and it's approved by the bishop assistant. So that kind of thing is there. So any other, policy, monetary policy that will be guiding us to become more transparent, we are trying to put into place. Because like I was in bombing. I went there, I spent 2 nights, I got a receipt from the guest house, I'll bring it back to the office, give it to our treasurer. Our folly, that's about the first time it's happening. All right. That you can come and say, oh yes, this is this. Then that's what like I was saying when the bank asked me, do you have an extra account that we can send the money that you are taking as a loan from us to? I said no, just send it through the LCO account. LCO knows that we are taking this loan, so send it through them. Like when I told you that Mrs. Gray supported us in getting that loan through the LCL after LCL started appealing around on our behalf. If you talk to Sis Naomi Ford, she will tell you they like all over the place are asking, hey, please help the man, because the guy who is there with trust is credible. I'm not an angel, but I try, as a human being to do my best. So with that, that cry went, and that's how she came and said, well, if you wanted 20,000, now you can take it from the bank. Let's start with 10. All right. And I think the 10, when we turn it over by the help of God, we're able to get something out. So, but unlike before, because when I even ask other men, they got potential men, I said, we need this money to undertake this first project. Somebody looked me directly in the face and said, look, Lion, you're my friend. I like you. I don't want to give you, ain't no my security, only to come back at the end of the year, people start taking it away because you will not pay back. I said, no. I said, we know you. We know other activity, other organizations you work with. Even honestly, I'm also a member in Matthew Lutheran Church, like Joka was saying. But I'm at Trinity, I'm at St. Philip's. I served as council chairman there for 10 years, up uh, uh, to the time that I became national member. I say, hey, my boy, I can't make it. And now that I was there, just holding on, I would tell us, man, let's have you like I say no, because we are doing a church construction. What you've done to be able to be accountable for a little bit about money entirely with being again and be church, we don't want you to leave. Remain there until we can complete the church. So, but then, thank God for me. When I became national member, I said, no, man, I beg you, maybe not look like I'm the only person here. Then we turn it over and they welcome it. The marks are there. So if you're talking about accountability, maybe because we're human beings, something else will happen. But you can rest assured, we'll get your 1 or 2 cents, we'll direct it, and you will see it bearing, multiplying. That's the person that I am, and I encourage my team to be like that. I don't want my hand to be in the cookie jar. When my hand is in the cookie jar, then anybody that put their hand in and take 5 cents now, I'll be afraid I can't talk because my hand there. So the first thing is among our friends, my teammates, that they get to know that Prezo is not up for this. When you start a leadership like that, then you find people to say, yeah, then they want to, copy that good example that you are showing. But if you get there with the other side, then it becomes a problem. Thank you.
Just a follow up to that, and I want to say thank you, Father Moba, for bringing some of these actual facts to light, and thank you so much for the insights. But you are a subset of a whole.
Yeah.
A whole meaning that the National Lutheran Men's Organization is part of the Lutheran Church in Liberia.
Yeah.
Firstly, how can you reconcile when it comes to accountability issue with your own men's organization vis-a-vis the Lutheran Church in Liberia? And secondly, what was your rationale for linking your accountability, if I should say, tendency to that of the LCL? And lastly, what is or to what extent
I think Jerry is having some technical problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, Father Molba, can you hear us? Hello, Father Molba.
I think our guest is facing similar challenge.
Yeah.
He's having similar challenge. Maybe we can just. I mean, the conversation is very very interesting, and I like to know. Um, and I like to know like what is the well, to what extent the organization, the National Lutheran Church Men, how are they managing their account with the LCL? Because in time past, a lot of organizations, even the Lutheran Youth Fellowship, which of course that all of us were part of, the Lutheran Youth Fellowship under the leadership.
Sorry, gentlemen, I got interrupted by call. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay. From past administrations, our our colleague right here, Brother Lewis, under his administration, under the administration of Sis Deda Gavler, under the administration of our late brother James Toulon, and just to name a few, that most of the time they had a problem, getting their own funds from the central office. you know. So I'm actually interested. I'm interested in, you know, him, the president providing more information. Maybe system have been set in place, that which, you know, the president will be um, able to provide us more information. But I'm really interested in, especially when it comes to that accountability point. You know,
I like how Jerry started the
yeah,
conversation.
I like that too. I like that. Brother
Yes, I
Abel, you
like
are on
how,
mute though.
yeah, Abe, you are
So much,
muted.
Wele. Yeah, okay. I just unmute. Thank you so much, Wele. Thank you, Joe, and Jerry for the elaborations. I'm in a jam traffic, but I'm good. Don't worry, I'm safe. The president talked about accountability, and he's talked about the account of the SEO. The account of the SEO is like a drop bucket where you put all of the money in one place. And these are things that we're talking about, that these things need to be transformed. They need to be changed if we are to move forward, as the president was rightly saying, taken from the team of the Morovia District Men's Convention that we are just returning from. Um, every accelerator of the SU put their money into the SU account. And sometimes when you go buy for this money, it's very, very difficult to get them out. I was president of the Lutheran Youth, and I know what I'm talking about. And if you are not very careful, money are not very restrictive. They are being diverted from one place to the next, which I personally feel is not a good financial practices. When Nazare or the group or the project has money, those money need to be restricted. They need to be restricted. It's not to be taken from one place, like the former information minister of Liberia, Eugene Nagbe, will say, digging hole and covering hole. And the digging and covering hole is not really helping us. The church is challenged. Goliath, as a president, elected and coming on the scene, he's doing extremely well. We are working with him on a lot of fronts. We are working with him in terms of cost sustainable development projects. As he regularly said, there's a project that we are rolling out right now in Belafanai, an agriculture project where we want to be producing cassava and transforming it into other value products. We just concluded another one in Bome Hills, where I come from tonight, about pig production. Those things will be able to bring some money to the national body.
Right.
But the SEO too.
Abel, let me just interrupt you a little bit. I really appreciate the fact that he highlighted the partnership with your organization, and he spoke a lot about what you are doing to help them. The value-added project, which is basically the agriculture project, I just wanted you to just move away from that a little bit and talk about the piggery. He talked about you guys are working on raising pigs. How are you guys going about that? I got some interest in the animal husbandry aspect of it. How are you guys going about that in our partnership? How is it going?
Thank you so much, Joe. We are assessing the capacities of the SEO parishes. We fully understand, we are cognizant of the fact that some of the parishes may have different expertise in another area. Like the Belafana parish, we think if we do cassava production in that region, it will definitely yield a better result. And then we assess the Bome Hills parish, where we're coming from. So what we are doing is that this week, the way we start. So I was telling the president, I said, we don't have to make our plan ambiguous. Let us do what we call, let us pallet test. Let us pallet test the piggery, meaning we only have like 2 compartments where we have just 2 pair of piggery. And then we put them into that compartment and see what progress we're going to make. Because we are speaking from experience from other areas. Like my organization, we started with a pair of pigs. Today we have 36 pigs. And currently we have about 4 pregnant. 4 pregnant. So if they deliver, we'll be climbing up to 50 and maybe 60. And if you kill one pig, Joe, The least you ever expect out of pig, the least you expect out of pigs will be like $150. So do you mean if you kill maybe like 2, 3, 4 pigs in a month time, if you have enough, you know how much money you'll be bringing back?
That
That'll
is
be a lot of
impressive.
money. And
Yes.
yeah, this is a local sustainable development project, and this thing don't need too much work. It doesn't require too much money to do this.
So Abel, you see why I said that all of the projects are actually good ideas, and we encourage you guys to pursue them very effectively. However, I pay a lot of attention to the piggery because I know what happens when you slaughter and sell one pig. I know the returns can be so much. If the men's organization is going to undertake that project, and with you being involved, very experienced and getting a lot of returns on it is going to be helpful to them. That is why I thought you should. Talk about it a little bit.
Absolutely,
I think
Joe.
when they say he got sorry, I think when they say he got a guest on the phone, but maybe I don't know.
Are you hearing me
now? Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. As we all know, there are technical challenges everywhere. Liberia is no exception. So we have our guest. He's on the phone with us. He is still trying to connect using his laptop, but he wants us to continue on the phone while he's trying to connect using his laptop. So he's listening to us. He has been on the phone with me for over 5 minutes now, and there's no break in connection. So as we speak, he's going to hear us and he's going to respond to our questions. We were really hoping and praying that we all remain on the phone, in studio, but this is such a situation. Mr. President, are you there? Mr. Golan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, wonderful. So everyone in the studio, we are all listening to you, and Mr. Tabler is going to continue from where we stopped.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Willie. Thank you, Father Moba. Sorry for my own breaking between. I had some technical glitches too. But I just, as I said, I don't want to prolong, but just to give us, some insight of how how you go. I mean, the extent to which you go in managing your account, and how can you reconcile that with the bigger, you know, organization you find yourself in, the LCL. How do you perceive accountability at the level of the LCL? Can you just give us some insight?
Okay. We maintain our books as the national men. We maintain our books. We have our own books. As we give them money, we do our own recording. And since I took over, we haven't had any major thing. All right, because the procedure is that I will go and request. They will go to the bishop's office or the LCL central office, and then BA, the bishop assistant, who is our advisor, approves. And that has been working well. Basically, like I said, I don't want to come out and maybe throw stone and do other things. But sometimes it's better to me. It will go through that, because through that, the other people that might like you, that might even want to send your hand, you know that by and large, it will be controlled. It's not going to be somewhere where, I can just walk and take something out. So before I even get anything out, it goes through the BA's office, and then he wants to know why this, why that. So that consensus is built, But other than that, to me, if it is outside the LCL, even LCL, like what they did, vouching for us to other people to say, hey, help, that would not happen. Just being on the outside. LCL, I don't even want to say, hey, we can talk, we trust, we as you do this. So I think here we are maintaining our own boats. We know our balances. I mean, we can go on. Thank you.
Okay, Father. Thank you very much for that response to Jerry's question. But let me just follow up. I still can't get my hair around the rationale for putting your money into the LCL's account and having the bishop office to manage that account. That's a macro management strategy right there. The question I want to ask you, uh, was this your independent decision as the men's auxiliary to use the LCL's account as your account, or were your arms twisted that in order for you to get support from the LCL, your money has to be in the LCL account? Was that the case or not?
Firstly, what I want to understand is that being an auxiliary of the LCL, if you have your account with them, there could be problems, can be easily managed, can be controlled. It's not that they are micromanaging us, they did not push us into that. But like I'm telling you, you were here before. Those of you that were here and affiliated with the men, they will always tell you the men are not accountable, and that's the truth. It's the hard truth. For us, I mean, when I ask, people say, but you, like I was telling you, somebody say, but we're not going to give you our money. You will walk from church to church, you raise money. We go to convention, you raise money. We don't see anything that's happening. And then you expect people to trust you. But with the LCL, with them helping us to maintain this, I mean, the LCL doesn't have, and then, he ain't into saying, bring your money before we support you. No. We think is the best way to do it. I could be there today while I'm there, and you trust me, and things are working fine. But another person could come, and if that confusion starts, to begin to win the trust of the people again, it becomes a real challenge. So, but like how we are going about it, I think for now, we can keep it, we can maintain our accounts there. Because even if you want a larger credit, the idea, because even when the guy asked me from the bank, can you give me your account and do it elsewhere? I said, oh, he even felt more relaxed. He just told me, oh, but if you know elsewhere, then it's good. Because here, money business, sometimes people just, it just go that kind of way. Yeah, so I think it's the best thing to do. We have worked on that, and we're not having a challenge so far.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. This is Willie, Willie Cowboy. So
yeah, okay.
I have a follow-up question to that. In the past, we had, especially from the National Lutheran Youth Fellowship, where we were part of the organization under the leadership of President Abel Lewillie, President Dede Gavler, the lead president James Soulon. We saw a lot of these people. They had to literally, like, it's not like physically fighting, but they literally had to fight in order to get what was due to them. What like, funding that they were that was rightfully belonged to them. Like in this case, and you're gonna be taking the minimum of like 10,000, and you're gonna be saving it with the LCL account. Okay, what has changed? What do you see that have changed now, on the level of progress that have been made with the LCL central office that give you this guarantee that, what, once our money is there, it's much more. I'm not only looking at safer, but we are not going to have these challenges.
Like I said, we took over like 8-9 months ago, and we started being active with them. We have not experienced that. Like for instance, before even procuring this loan, we walked with them to the office. When we had our exco meeting and said, look, let's initiate something. Let's get the money that we have in the account to Ghana. We walked there and just said, we need 1,500 USD. Once I signed the check, they just give the money, because you do a justification. They said, this is it. And I mean, quite frankly, if it was like that before, I think this leadership that is currently there, that is not a problem. That is not the case, brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. So maybe another time when we invite you, we'll go further on some of the questions surrounding accountability issues. But at this time we are going to move further into the projects, and Brother Joker is going to take it away from here. We have some questions regarding the projects that you are undertaking.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Father Molova, for providing some clarity with regards to putting your money into the LCL's account and not you having your own independent account. No matter what you do, the safety of putting your money into the LCL's account does not negate accountability questions. Like Willie said, we can find time exclusively to talk about that. And the reason is simple. We're not only spotlighting your organization, but what we're trying to do is to look at auxiliaries putting their monies into the LCL's account, not just the men's auxiliary. What are the benefits and the effects? We can have the discussion in that context so that it doesn't appear like we are singling out the men's organization. So when it comes to the projects, you talk about the LAPA project, you talk about the agricultural project, you have at Belafanai, and then the piggery that you're working on with Abel's organization. As a matter of fact, when you had a technical issue briefly, we talked to Abel a little bit about his organization's role in those projects. But it's good to have you on now for you to be able to tell us what exactly the LAPA project is for. Is it just for the men to be uniform at the convention, and after the convention is done? What also is the rationale for the LAPAs being done in Ghana? And again, it's not just your organization. There are many auxiliaries of the LCL that produce their paraphernalia in Ghana. Does that speak to any fight by any measure that you do not have companies in Liberia that are capable of producing with the same quality? Hello, sir, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. President.
Yeah.
So, the question
did
is...
Did you get the question?
Yeah, I think Willie, you can just re-echo that for me, please.
Well, the first question, I will state the first question. The first question is on the LAPA project. You talk about projects. You talk about the agricultural project at Belafanai. You are partnering with Abel to do that. You talk about the piggery. You also partnering with Abel's organization to do that. But let me start with the LAPA project. My colleagues will come in with the other projects. The LAPA project. What's the rationale for producing those products in Ghana, not in Liberia? Is it that there are no qualified companies in Liberia to produce the quality that you need, that you have to produce that in Ghana? And it's not only your organization, there are organizations, other auxiliaries in the LCL that do that as well. They all go to Ghana to print and not in Liberia. Why is that the case?
So, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, I don't know of a textile company, in Liberia. I don't think we have one. Those lapas and clothing are all imported into Liberia. So that's the reason why we have to go out. All right. If it were being done here, then it would have been easier for us. But as far as I know, no, you don't have them. Then I think you were talking about why the uniform and how, the whys and hows. Basically, we as national men who want to be identified, we go to our gatherings, we go to other activities. It's only befitting that we are unified. So we decided, and it's a way of raising funds for us, because, like I started off by saying, when we took over, the budget of national men was like $16,000 and quite recently, after going through other things, we have like, the last time we checked, we had like $85,000 plus 1,215 USD in our accounts. So it tells you where we are moving. The project, if this is done successfully, we're able to move and motivate our men to procure the lapa. We have some good returns, all right? And the returns should be able to help us, explore other means when it comes to project, implementation. So that's the reason why we are doing this. So it's not a one-shot thing, a one-off thing. We go there to the convention, next day we're looking for a different thing. No, we're bringing enough lappers that we can continue with this, uniformity, stuff.
Okay, so that's a resource mobilization strategy, in short, for you to raise funds?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just about people wearing them at the convention and that be it, but for you to also mobilize resources.
Yeah.
Okay, so probably Jerry will want to take it from there with regards to the other projects,
Thank you. Your organization, the men's organization, seems to be the pathfinder for other organizations or other auxiliaries within the NY, the National Lutheran, different auxiliaries. I see that you got a lot of projects that that you hope to raise funds from. I am particular about this the piggery stuff. The first thing I will want you to explain to us or tell us and your viewers why you decided to get involved in the piggery, animal husbandry. Why? And what is the cost benefit analysis that you can put through it? Can you please, because maybe the women will want to follow, maybe the youth will want to follow, but you are the men, the pathfinder, so we want to know from you why you thought to get into that form of agriculture, and what's the cost benefit analysis?
So, thank you. If you look at the animal husbandry project, basically, for me, it's cheap to do, and it has a lot of returns. Like I say, it depends on the commitment. If you to organize that, I mean, it will take us less than $300 US. And once it's over there, I mean, getting the feed, it should not pose a real challenge to us. All right.
Hello?
I think we.
Are you getting me?
Yeah, go ahead. We
Okay.
connected now. Go ahead.
So when the pea is bearing, you if at any point in time it bears more than 8. Yeah, man. At any point in time it bears more than 8. So the hardest part is to take a pair and get started. Once you get started, I mean, the rest of it, So when you look at the cost benefit analysis, I mean, it's cheaper to do it, and the returns are huge. Right. So if you are looking at a pair of pigs today, and then uh, 8 9 months down the line, you get 8 piglets or more. You by the time we're talking next year at this time, you call me and we are talking our lady. I say, hey, we started from zero, but this is where we are today. And then you will see that and say, oh, yeah, that's true. But actually, to cut the long short, I mean, it's cheaper to do and it has a greater return. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, we got. I was told we got less than 5 minutes to go. So let me just
Oh, my God.
run over this again as a follow up. I know you were talking about. I mean, the rate of return, and you try to give us a guide or a gauge like 9 months down the road. But I would want to know in monetary sense, what quantum of money we are looking at generating from this, a piggery, and at what time you expect to start generating that quantum of money to reinvest. So that is what, we talk about the rate of return. That is what I want to know, monetize it.
Okay. So this is February, I can say. So we should begin such a project, holding everything constant. We'll begin this project by March. By January, February, we should expect that I have thought with Abel, we're talking around $300 to begin with. But if it begins to get return, we'll begin to get return. I mean, at any point in time, we'll be making no less than $1,000. I mean, where you talking about maybe season coming or people wanting to buy. The Lutheran just need to know that, look, we have this project out there, and this is what we have. So you can sell a pig for $50, $75, depending on the size, $100. So it how we take care. And at any point in time that you want to sell 2 3 pigs, you'll be talking $300 $400 and it's not going to be 2 pigs. But by that time you will see that, like I said, you will start having 10 15. The experience is with the Baptist men. The Baptist men last year June, when I was in the convention in October, they started this pig project in June last year. By October, they said their hands were already filled because they had about 37 pigs. So when I said, look, we have interest. As your brothers, ecumenical brothers, can you help us? The president, Brother Takinan, said, Kolayan, we ready? Just make sure that our pigs don't die. You can come. So those are things that we're looking at, actually. So I know in terms of, getting returns, I mean, we'll get huge return. But in terms of dollars, I can't be exact, not say just this. But I know it's a project, it will go on. So, but it costs this low to start and maintain is low. But when you begin to get return on it, it goes on and on as long as you continue to take care, and manage it well. So in the future, the man, even if it is a monthly business, you get $100 on each, on the project. It's something that's coming better than where you don't have anything coming at all. But on a yearly basis, you'll be able to raise more than $1,000. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to have said, then you reinvest and then we'll go to the health of it, taking care of. But I mean, we hope to get you again because a lot of issues we have to chew on, So maybe I will pass it over to Willie. Willie has some crucial point that you want to raise, and I think all of us got interest in Willie.
Yeah. I mean, actually, the connection was not really our friend today, but we really want to thank the president for uh, trying every efforts to continue the show. But again, like we said, this is a show for all Lutherans, so we're going to bring the president back. Mr. President, with the few time left, I just wanted to get from your own perspective and from the National Men Fellowship standpoint when it comes to the current election. As we all know, it's nothing that we're gonna shout about. We are heading into um, the national, this is the bishopric election of our church, and this is a very very strategic position in our church that involves everyone, I would say. So first of all, I just want to find out what is the men's fellowship own involvement, especially when it comes to either sensitization, and how is the men's fellowship involved when it comes to these elections.
Basically, whenever we meet, we just encourage our men to, open their eyes, be very rational. Let's keep praying that we have the opportunity to God will give us the mind to elect the right person. Because for me, just as I want the men to move forward and become very strong, that's how I want LCL to be. So, like I was telling somebody, I said, if we're not careful and we don't pray for God to guide us, then I'm afraid that our organization might just, go way down to the knees. Because if you have a bishop that will be very proactive, a bishop that will be very industrious, yes, other people will see and say, then we can throw something in there. But if you have a bishop, if we let a bishop, that will only sit and just wait, then and that comes out, it might happen for the first 2 years of his or her term. It will come and that in fact that's a perennial problem of LCL. All right, we've always said it, because there were times that donors and missions were, the missionary, the support came. So by that time we were supposed to, invest, but we didn't do it. So this time we're tough, and everything is like, taking a downhill turn. And then you look at it, so, everybody's tired. You will not keep supporting me as your child, and every year I can bring you any progress. You say, my man, I think it's about time that we can forget it. So we are praying. But one thing that for our church that I look at, and we need to be very strong and firm, that will get leaders, our church will decide to allow the pastors to come on at least 2. If you have 2 pastors, because every time I go to election, don't get me wrong, but every time I go to election, it brings about more division in the church. You have your side, I have my side. Once you are perceived by another group that you are supporting the other side, and the group that perceives you to be part of the other side, when you come there, you are an enemy. By that time, they don't want to do business with you. They don't want to do business with you. So, in as much as it will be that way, we need to see how we can kind of, lower that kind of tendency in the church. The pastors are the ones that become bishops. They are the ones that, you and I, we are ladies. No matter what we do, we can all become bishops. We can be, but they are the ones. So they should be able to go in their own pastoral fellowship, come back and say, look, these 2 are our very best congregations. Here they are, vote for them. But they're not doing it. They also like the helpless, and anybody just get, you got 5 presidents now. Those 5 people. If, for instance, somebody calls me and say, Mobile, when you serve my committee, I say, no, I can't make it. I'm the main president. I want to remain neutral. Even though the Constitution doesn't speak to that, it is silent. For expediency, from my own professional background, I cannot do it because of my position.
Father Molva, let me interrupt you a little bit. Father
that
Let
person
me
takes
interrupt you a
exception.
little bit, please.
I come, sir.
Father
I just
Morgan.
wrapping up.
Oh, no,
That person takes exception. Yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead. He wanted to come or follow up, but go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
Okay, so that person takes exception, and now the main person is now supporting me against me. I know you on the other side. So you come to power now, then maybe you want to make things difficult. Yeah, thank you.
So, Father, everything you said, you are right, and everyone in the church is concerned about that. We want to see, a creative, innovative leader, authentic leader, a leader that is accountable, elected as bishop of the church to move the church forward. We're no longer in the mission state as a church. This is the national church now, meaning that we have the responsibility to manage the church and move the church forward. That means we have to administer the affairs of the church by ourselves, not the missionaries anymore. We have to raise our own, we have to mobilize our own resources to make sure that we move our church forward. The men's auxiliary is critical. You need to go beyond just telling your members to open their eyes, to tell them the kind of person, the kind of leader to elect. You need to move beyond that. You have a responsibility to do that. The question is, are you doing that, and how are you doing it? In fact, there are some places where an organization such as yours in the institution will definitely come out clearly and take sides and say, on the basis of XYZ, we will be supporting, candidate A or candidate B. And you will be providing leadership for other auxiliaries in the church to follow suit, to say, yes, we'll go this way, we'll do that because there's a precedent. Why you don't think that's something your auxiliary should do? Because in the church, there's this passive, way of doing things in the LCL. Everybody sits back, in their corners and do the gossips, and none of us is free from that. When the harm is done, then we come back and behave as though, we were trying to take measures to do it when we didn't do anything, we didn't take any steps. So now is the opportunity. What is the men's auxiliary doing? Are you talking to your people about the qualities of the person to be elected as bishop, instead of just saying, open your eyes and watch out for yourself? Some of them got eyes. Some of them even got 3 eyes, 4 eyes beyond hours, but they don't see, So you still have to help them to see and understand what they should do. So are you doing that? Are you coming out clearly? Are you doing that? So what is wrong with you even taking side to say, this is the pastor we're going to support to become our next bishop? What's the wrong in doing that?
Well, we haven't reached that, but we talk, we tell them, we met today at a convention. We say, look, you need to look among the pastors, the contestants, and see who you think will keep the LCL for. Like you're saying, the LCL is a national church now. We, from the parishes and congregations, should be working to building and supporting the church. Unfortunately, that is not coming out like it's supposed to be. My view about it, it's not other men's view. Like, we're there, and I took like an hour to talk to some guys. When Abel spoke yesterday, then the other guy said, yeah, Mama, then I agree with you. Because, like you're saying, even, sorry to say, but even with just gossip, they were just going to say, man, they were happening. And the part of it, they don't want to say the truth. So those are things that happen. But for us, we go to convention. So we either having them to come and speak to us 15 minutes each, where we'll be having the opportunity to cross examine and know, But besides that, like I say, we keep talking around. And by the time you come to talk, there are other people, the pastors are not strange to us. We know what they have been into and what their abilities are, so to speak. And I think by that, we make a better decision. Yeah.
Father Glenn, I have a follow up question quickly.
Yeah.
So from the men's fellowship standpoint, what level of credibility you have in the work of the elections commission so far, the elections committee so far?
Well, taking it as face value.
Yeah.
I mean, I have much respect for them. Like, or Father Fomonya, who is the chairman, he served as chairperson for National Election Commission before. And, he and his team, I mean, if they are a wonderful team. And depending on what the policies they are putting into place, they started doing an interview for the bishop and the candidates yesterday. So once they can go through and qualify people, and people begin to abide by the rules of the game, I'm sure we're heading somewhere. But like I say, we have the honor is on us all, to just vote for those people, that person that we know that can deliver. Yeah.
Okay. So very quickly, I know we don't have much time. I just want to squeeze this in quickly, Father Golan. The question here is, earlier last week there was a memo that came up from the election committee, and some Lutherans had a concern that the memo was a little bit like contradicting from the guidelines, the first guideline that was posted, looking at the timetable of the screening and everything. So all of the communications coming up from the elections committee, like you said, you hold them in high esteem from from a holistic standpoint. Um, what do you make of the concern of some Lutherans that the second memo was contradicting the first memo, and yeah, what was the men's fellowship own concern when these issues were raised by some Lutherans?
Yeah, Willie, to be quite frank, I mean, we all learn from what we do, and then we improve. So if election commission had posted the first guidelines and came and made some changes, oh, favoritism for one or two persons. I mean, I think they were just being objective because I know, yeah. As I'm saying, they should have been doing to Jamie one, but again, human being. I mean, in leadership, you gotta be able to move on. All right, but if you want to design a thing that would just suit one person or favor one person and go against the rest of the group, that's when I can have problems. But as it goes, I think, we having more to say, oh, they have the rules, and then the other person is being followed or haunted by this law because we know that the person is, so they design especially to go against the person, and it becomes glaring. No, then we can go ahead. So coming back to make some amendments in the guideline, for me, I don't think I was saying that we should actually pick up, but normally some people are very keen, so those are that will pick up, and then and the Lutheran connections, our chat rooms, sometimes things come where I think the way we drag it, the way we handle it, it brings about some a kind of tearing people down. So I think at times sometimes it's good to let sleep dollar and be yourself. But that's my own opinion. Don't get me wrong. But where you see people, coming or just because I'm in a group, so I should begin to say something, and then I think we should leave that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We got please, we got one more to squeeze in just before we close from our.
Yeah, no problem.
Go ahead, brother.
No problem.
Go ahead, brother Jerry.
Thank you so much. Election is a critical process in our church, and as you rightly stated, it has a tendency of dividing us. As the president of the National Lutheran Men's Auxiliary, what message will you have for will-be candidates as well as the electorate as we go through this bishopric elections as soon as possible? What message you will have for them to keep the church together so that we can be united? Can you please just, and maybe that could just, you could sum that in to your closing statement, just everything, you know.
Okay. So basically, in my mind, they are human beings, we are human beings. But the first and foremost should be our Lutheran church. So if you are vying for this or you are campaigning for someone, do not tear the other people. You say, oh, the other pastor, their pastor is a weak pastor. Their pastor is rude. Excuse me for that. People are saying that. Their pastor ain't got no good manner. You know, you go somewhere, you say that, suppose that person wins. And in our group, by the time I go, I'm supporting that person, I go and say, it becomes a problem. But again, our pastors are the ones who decide to do this work, and God is using them. So sometimes in our homes, our children sometimes say, "Now, Papa, don't mind. That's your ID talking here." I don't know what you maybe say. I will not send my daughter to school, or I will not send my son to school. But you know, but the pastors, being human beings, they take that when they become, when they assume that role, then they begin to act. There are a lot of people, so it will continue to tear each other down in the church. After the election, they will go back with another full year to reconcile. What that will be working. By then you got to wait then you lead already, because you are taking the whole time to reconcile. So let us go through it. If you win, you are winning for all of us. If I go to campaign for you, I say for my candidate, these are our platform, and this is what we are able to do. I will not say, you see, Willie is this, Willie is that, or you see, Josiah is that. No. I think we should graduate from that. So for me, my party comment is basically to say thank you to you guys on that side. And since I took over the men presidency, I've been trying to see if we can make some friends abroad. It's not basically to beg, because somebody will say, oh, the bullet to beg. But it's basically to establish a relationship. Because some days you will have a progress, send one person to come and see this. Or when people are coming, so we have this group there, and they come and visit us, see what we are doing. It will get us on, mind to say, well, let's see how we can maybe tap into this. Or we just mutually, we pray for one another. You are there, you have your men organization in your church. You say, we have the Lutheran church, the local Lutheran church in Liberia. The men are this, and they have this project. But we are here, so we want to keep them in our prayer that they become successful. And by that, we just keep talking to one another. That's the kind of relationship that we are also trying to ask for on that side. So our projects here, our local men, I can assure you, 6 months, March 10 to 13, we'll go to convention. So by June, July, I am sure when you get me back on the show the next time, we should be showing you tangibles. And so, yes, when we told you back in January that we were doing this is how far we have gone, this is what. And now you begin to see it. Other people will begin to call you, oh, yeah, it's true, these guys are doing this. Like you say, we are the pathfinder. So all that we are doing, experimenting, I'm one person that will not say, because we are the men and we are successful, we should hire, we know. I would prefer one would do it, we become successful. We can even bring the women, we do it jointly. Because when we do it jointly, it becomes bigger, and then the LCL benefits. Our church stands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Father Molba. You've met the expectation of the team, and I'm very sure the expectations of our viewers as well. We are really impressed and grateful that you took off some time under the current circumstances to join us for the conversation tonight. Thank you so much for everything you've said, the insights you've provided. I'm sure this is helpful to many people in the Lutheran Church. We will actually try to get back to you because you're very knowledgeable, you're informed, to be able to talk about other issues, in our church.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It was
All
good
right.
having
Thanks,
you.
Amelia. I'm
Really?
so happy. And let God bless and strengthen you both as you carry this work out.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President. That was the voice of the president of the National Lutheran Men's Fellowship, Father Molba Bolayan. He was speaking on projects, programs, and initiatives of the National Lutheran Church Men Fellowship in Liberia, the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Again, today we had our colleague, Brother Jerry Tablo, there in Freetown, Sierra Leone, and our brother Josiah F. Joka Jr. in Connecticut. And I'm Willie Coble here in Georgia. We say thank you very much for tuning in, and we are going to be joining you next time. Until then, we say have a great day and God bless everyone.